Hello Internet, it's Nasty Nate from JayBeesWorld here. Spending the afternoon with my AR-15. I just got a new sling mounting plate for the rear of my lower receiver, and I'm going to show you how to put one on. First step to my install today is to separate the upper and lower receivers. So I will move these pins, separate the two receivers, set the upper to the side. To give a brief highlight of this process, what we're going to do is first remove the buffer and spring, and then we will loosen this locking ring, and then this is the actual plate that I'm going to be replacing. I'm going to replace it with this low profile Ambi Sling adapter manufactured by Brownells. Got it at my local gun store, picked it up. You can see it has a slot for a nylon webbing sling, or it has a round hole where you can use an alligator clip or any other spring actuated device for attaching your sling. So moving on, to remove the buffer tube, we're first going to depress this detent pin to allow it to slide out. There you have the buffer and spring removed, and now we're ready to use a stock spanner wrench to loosen this ring. Simply twist to remove. It's going to be a little tight, but a firm push, I've already loosened this one, will free it. Now there are two booby traps when you're loosening this. First, there's a detent pin that holds this pin captive, and it's spring loaded through this small tube, and the plate holds it in place. So you want to be careful not to lose that spring, because it's hard to find. I've already lost it once today. And also, when we unscrew the buffer tube, this detent pin is under spring pressure and will pop out. So with my left finger, I'll watch one. With my right finger, I'm watching the other as I slowly unscrew. Now the detent pin is free. Spring there. So you can see that spring is under quite a good bit of spring pressure, and you will launch it if you don't keep your hand over it. And secondly, small spring on the inside of this tube for the pin that holds the takedown pin captive. So now I can freely unscrew my buttstock, unscrew the buffer tube. It comes right out. Remove the existing plate. This is a stock end plate, and I'm going to replace it with this Ambi Sling attachment point. There's a small channel where it's going to fit into. You can see that notch fits into a channel in the threads. Thread that on. And now I'm ready to begin putting it back onto the lower receiver. Careful not to cross thread it. So now, with that in place, I'm going to put the takedown pin, which slipped out, in the spring. Continue to screw it in. And you can see inside, all I'm doing is screwing up until where the buffer tube meets the edge of the hole for the buffer tube detent spring. and then I will drop the spring and detent in and screw this in just until it will hold the detent pin in place, and that's just it. So I align it, and my spring actually slipped out. So now I have my detent pin in place, takedown pin, retaining spring in place. I'm going to hand tighten the locking collar up until there's only one thread remaining. Now I'll take a drop of thread locker, put a nice drop on the threads. This is just so it doesn't vibrate loose while it's shooting. Now I'll compress everything again by hand. Once I have it hand tight, I'll then take my spanner wrench and give it a good cinch. There you can see now my new end plate is in place. Ambidextrous sling mounting points. And the last thing to do is just reassemble the rifle, starting with the buffer tube. That goes in, snaps into place. The detent pin will hold it in place. Mate the upper receiver to the lower receiver. Now we're ready to go. Test function for fire. It works. We're ready to go to the range. I'm Nate from JayBeesWorld. Thanks for watching. Leave us some comments and give us a subscription if you like what you see. Join us next time on JayBeesWorld.